Okay, we're going vlog style so that I can show you my textile design portfolio from when I was in college. I think I made this particular collection when I was um, like a junior, so it's probably like 2011. And we had to do a very specific portfolio that was a little bit more complicated than what I require my students to do now. But it does do a good job of conveying scale. So we're going to use it to talk about how to present scale in your textile design portfolios and kind of why that's important. All right. Here's my mood board. I based the collection on like the inside of pocket watches. Um, and I like made a little gear shape out of this background element. It's very collagey mood board. I think Paula Ehrenberg Medeiros was my professor at this time, so shout out to her and to Charlotte Hamlin. They both developed this type of portfolio together, I think. I could be wrong, but it's a great layout for a portfolio, although there's a lot of printing to do. So this is a very simple pattern, and it would have been glued or like double sticky taped at the top, and then every single pattern in the collection had to have a smaller version underneath it. I guess had to is the wrong word. I guess if 3x3 repeats could fit in here, then you didn't have to do a smaller square version for each pattern, but the colorways were shown at the original scale and only the main colorway got a smaller pattern. So in my classes, I would feel like this is probably a good scale and that we can kind of evaluate the repeats and get the idea of it, even without a smaller version. And we also had to do color chips for each pattern. All right, so here's a little bit more of a complex pattern, but you can see that like the scale doesn't change that much between these. We're gonna get to a more dramatic pattern in a bit here. This one, I think the scale, like the size of the repeat on this would be something like 20 inches or something, the tile that makes up the repeat. So then the scale here gets really small. And this is how we evaluate like the flow of the repeat and everything like that. So with my students at Mass Art, at least, I would have them do this page at the full scale, and it is important for this to be shown at full scale because of all of the detail in the clock and everything. Then for their second page, which has their colorways on it, I have them show the colorways at the smaller scale. This just involves less printing, right? You don't have to then print a smaller scale version, and there's also less matting and organization. They just end up showing the 11 by 17 inch page in the portfolio. To be clear, this is how I like my students' portfolios to be laid out in terms of scale. So we're going to focus on just kind of the bottom row here. I'll even zoom in a bit. Okay, so for the Ditzy, it is a small scale print over here on the left, and the colorways are shown at the same scale because the intended scale of this print is small. In this 12-inch tile, the intended scale of the repeat is 12 inches tall, and you can see it takes up, most of an 11 by 17 inch page, this repeat. And it's shown at the full scale for the main colorways, and then the secondary and third colorways are shown at the small scale. And we've lined these up so that they seamlessly tile across the seam. Also, for the 24-inch height, we can't even see even a fraction of the whole pattern on this scale. So it's really, really important at this scale to scale it down. And so this is how I like my mass art students to do it this way, with the two colorways, the two secondary colorways on one page, with shown at a smaller scale, with it to be seamless, with it seamlessly across the page. Let me know if you have any questions on that. And, there's no wrong way to do a portfolio, but it is important when you're making a textile design, especially one that has small detail like this. You need to show it at the large scale, but the designer, you know, there could be a monkey over here on this page, on like off the page, right, in your repeats, and someone who was purchasing it would never know that without the small scale version. Okay, so this is an engineered, I just showed a close up of an engineered print. And then this was my kind of magnum opus for the class. I spent way too long on this print. I made all of these in Illustrator, and I think this one is upside down technically. It would be, you can see here like that there are like some really unique shapes that happen in the repeats. There's kind of like this branching element, and it has to be shown at full scale because the detail in here is lost at the smaller scale. But we need to see the smaller scale because we wouldn't be able to appreciate this like branching, flowing element to it when it's just at the full scale, right? That's all kind of lost in this. So yeah, at Mass Art, we try to streamline it and make it easier for everyone by just essentially doing this page, and then your colorways are the smaller scale version where we can evaluate the flow and we can just kind of imagine it at this scale. Then I've also put them on some really early illustrations for me. So hopefully this helps. I actually have an example of why it's important to show the full scale and also the small scale. My, I think, great-grandmother, famously in my story, she bought a couch, she picked out the fabric based on a swatch. The swatch had some beautiful, leaves and florals on it, and she was like, great, I'm an old Irish woman, this is my jam, I need this in my formal living room, I'll never let anyone sit on it. It arrives, this brand new couch that she's, probably already paid for, I don't know. And she won't let it come inside her house. She stops the delivery people from even bringing it inside because it has birds on it. And apparently, Irish people believe that having birds displayed in your house is bad luck, and she will not have it, okay? So these people lost a sale, probably had to scrap or resell a perfectly good couch because they only showed a portion of their textile design in the swatch, okay? So this is a legitimate thing. You don't want some secret monkeys off on the left or bad luck birds off on the right. We need to show the full scale, get that texture. That's why she bought the textile design, because she could see all of the beautiful flowers. But we also need to know if there's a bird in the corner, okay? So keep it in mind when you're designing your textile designs, the intended scale, give it a good level of detail for that scale, and then also show us the smaller scale in your portfolio. All right, thank you.